At my wife's company party, her boss spit on my face, called her his at work, and everyone pretended they didn't see it. I wiped it off, smiled like a doormat, and decided that was the last moment in my life anyone would ever get away with underestimating me. My name is Daniel Walker, but on the 32nd floor of Pinnacle Technologies, I'm Lisa's husband. That's my whole resume up here. The place looks like money tried too hard. Glass walls, white leather, brushed steel. Boston glittering through the windows like a screensaver. Executives in tailored suits and tight dresses laugh too loud at jokes that aren't funny. Flirting with people they wouldn't recognize in the parking garage. I stand near the back wall, nursing a champagne I don't want. Wearing the navy blazer Lisa said made me look safe. Nobody asks what I do. They ask, "So how do you like Boston?" Or, "You must be proud of Lisa." Then their eyes drift over my shoulder, already hunting someone more useful. Lisa moves through it all like she was born here. Black dress I bought for our anniversary. Hair perfect, smile sharpened just enough. She introduces me when she has to. "This is my husband, Dan," she tells a cluster of coworkers. "He's in marketing." They nod like that explains why I'm wallpaper. Then Brandon Cole arrives, and the room shifts half an inch. Senior VP. Golden boy. The kind of guy who thinks gravity works differently on him. He slides in behind Lisa, hand settling on the small of her back like he owns stock there. His ties loosened, his eyes already glassy from the bar. "Walker." He says my name like he's trying it on and doesn't like the fit. "Enjoying the big leagues?" "Nice view," I answered. "Hard to see who's actually working, but nice." He laughs too loudly. People look over, then pretend not to. Someone passes with a tray. He grabs another drink, steps closer, so close I can smell the expensive whiskey and the cheaper arrogance. "You know she's mine up here, right?" he says, words just for me. "At work, Lisa's my girl." He leans in, like he's gonna whisper something else. Instead, he spits. Not a full glob, just enough to hit my cheek and the corner of my mouth. Quick, casual. A private assault in a very public room. For a second, the volume in the room dips. Just a hair. People see. People always see. They just pretend they don't. Lisa's eyes flick to the spit on my face. Then to Brandon. Her jaw tenses, but not in my direction. "Brandon works late," she says lightly, like we're in on some harmless joke together. He gets punchy. She doesn't reach for me. She doesn't tell him to apologize. She just lets it hang there, him, the powerful one. Me, the man who should learn to take a hit. I take a breath. Slow. My hand comes up, wipes the spit off my cheek with 2 fingers. I look at it, then at him, then at her. "Noted," I say. My voice is calm, almost bored. "I'll have to tell the director how his people behave." Brandon snorts. "You do that, buddy." Lisa gives me a tight, warning smile. The kind that says don't make a scene, don't embarrass me, be small. "Dan," she murmurs. "Let's not be dramatic, okay? It's just a joke. You're overreacting." Overreacting. With another man's spit still drying on my skin. I nod once. "You're right. No scene." I set the untouched champagne on the nearest table, button my blazer, and step back from both of them. Nobody stops me. A few watch, pretending they're not. They think I'm walking out because I'm ashamed. Because I got put in my place by the boss and my own wife co-signed it. In the elevator down to the lobby, I catch my reflection in the doors. Same face, same quiet guy. But the line got drawn upstairs, in glass and champagne and spit. This isn't the night I broke. It's the night I stopped playing the nobody they all believed I was. The drive home is short, but it feels like I'm putting miles on something else. On whatever's left of the version of me who'd swallow that kind of disrespect and call it supporting my wife's career. Boston lights thin out, turn into neighborhoods and quiet streets. Our house waits at the end of a cul-de-sac. Gray siding, white trim, 2-car garage, perfectly trimmed lawn. From the outside, it looks like a success story. I walk in and it just feels like a crime scene where no one's called the cops yet. Same framed photos on the walls, same throw pillows she picked, Same candle that smells like fake vanilla and better days. Nothing's moved, but the air's different. Thinner, colder. I hang my blazer, loosen my tie, and head straight for the liquor cabinet. The bourbon's a gift from one of her clients. I pour 2 fingers, then make it 3. In the living room, our wedding photo sits on the mantel. Lisa in white, eyes bright, smiling like the future was a guarantee. Me beside her, stupidly happy, arm around her like I believed that meant something permanent. I take a sip and really look at that guy. I've known for 6 months, I tell the room. You were just late to your own funeral, buddy. The affair wasn't hard to find. Half the time, cheaters aren't clever. They're arrogant. Late nights that didn't match her calendar. A second phone she thought I didn't notice. Hotel charges buried in conferences. Clocked it all. I took notes. I waited. My phone buzzes on the coffee table. Lisa, I'm staying at Megan's tonight. Lisa, we need to talk. Of course she's staying at Megan's. Of course they have a script for tomorrow. I can practically hear Megan's PR voice coaching her through it. I stare at the texts, then type back. Me, okay. No question mark. No fight. Just okay. I drain the glass, set it down, and trade the wedding photo for my laptop. The house is silent except for the soft whir of the fan as it wakes up. My fingers move without hesitation, opening an encrypted client, a secure line most people at Pinnacle don't know exists. The screen blinks, then a face appears. Older man, white hair, dark eyes that miss nothing. Evening Dan, Richard Scott says. On paper, he's a major shareholder. In reality, he's the man who built Pinnacle and then stepped into the shadows when it got too big for public mistakes. Evening, sir. He looks at me for half a beat longer than usual. You look like someone crossed a line. They did, I answered. On your 32nd floor, with your people watching. He leans back. Brandon, and Lisa, and Megan, by omission. Walk me through it. I do. The party, the spit, the comment, Lisa's silence. I keep it clean, clinical. No emotion he can't use. When I'm done, he nods once. And your assessment? I feel the bourbon warm in my chest, but my voice stays steady. The experiment is over. They proved what they are. We move to phase 2. Most of Pinnacle thinks I'm a mid-level marketing guy at some outside firm that got lucky with a retainer contract. That's the cover. The truth is simpler and uglier. For 3 years, I've been director of special operations. Off the org chart, off the website, buried in NDAs and redacted memos. My job is to find rot before it kills the tree. Brandon's fraud. Megan's creative accounting. HR burying complaints. Lisa helping polish reputations in press releases while she's sleeping with the man causing half the mess. None of it happened in a vacuum. I've been pulling the threads, saving the proof. They walked right into it, I say. Every call, every charge, every policy they broke. All documented. Scott's mouth tightens into something that isn't quite a smile. Then you've done your job. Phase 2 is greenlit. I'll schedule the board for an emergency session. Get some sleep, Dan. You'll need it. The call ends. The laptop screen goes black, reflecting my face in the darkened glass. I leave the empty glass by the photo on the mantel. Husband and wife, frozen in time. The man in that frame didn't know what he was marrying. I go to bed alone. Not heartbroken, not surprised, just planning. Lisa comes home the next morning around 9, wearing the same black dress. The makeup's fresh, but the eyes give it away. Too red around the edges, too little sleep, too much pretending. She walks in like she owns the place, then hesitates when she sees me at the kitchen table with my coffee and my laptop closed. Hey, she says. Morning. She sets her bag down, pulls a manila envelope out like it's a weapon she's been practicing with. I can almost hear Megan and whatever divorce lawyer they recommended whispering in her ear. We need to talk, she starts. You said that. I nod at the envelope. Is that the script? Her jaw tightens. I want a divorce. There it is. She waits for it to hit me. Tears, anger, bargaining, something she can control. Okay, I say, same way I texted it. like she suggested selling the old car. She blinks. Just, okay? Yup. She slides the envelope across the table. These are the initial papers. The lawyer said given your modest salary at Morrison, alimony is appropriate. It's standard. Morrison Marketing. The cover job. The harmless, forgettable gig that let me slip under everyone's radar. I open the envelope. I don't read a single line. I pull out the signature page, find the X, sign my name clean and steady. That's it? She asks. There's a crack in her voice now. Confusion. Not regret. Just loss of control. That's it, I answered. You want out. You're out. She searches my face for something. Panic. Hurt. A hook she can use. There's nothing there for her. You'll still be responsible, she snaps. Legally. Financially. Brandon's going to help me make sure this is fair. Of course he is. Color rises in her cheeks. She snatches the envelope back, shoves it into her bag, and storms out with one last parting shot. You'll regret this, Dan. I finish my coffee. Then I pick up my phone, call my fake boss at Morrison, and tell him I'm not feeling well and need the day. He's understanding. He always is. It helps when his paychecks come from a shell company owned by Pinnacle. An hour later, I'm in a different lobby downtown, flashing a badge almost nobody knows exists. The guard at Pinnacle's private entrance doesn't ask questions. He just nods and calls up. The elevator that opens isn't the one the regular employees use. This one has no floor buttons, just a key slot and a scanner. It hums smoothly up past the executive levels. When the doors slide open, Art Ramirez is waiting. Boston PD, head of security, eyes like he's still wearing a badge. Morning, director, he says. Morning, Art. No, Lisa's husband up here. He claps my shoulder once, solid. Heard last night about how we figured it out. Worse, I say. Which is better? He grins. Scott's ready for you. Carol Jenkins, Scott's assistant, looks up from her desk as I walk past. Silver hair, sharp glasses, the kind of woman who knows where everybody is buried, and who dug half the holes. About time you dropped the act, she says. The sitcom husband wasn't your best role. I huff a small laugh. He served his purpose. I step into Scott's office. Floor-to-ceiling glass, view over the city, everything the 32nd floor thinks it means. He gestures to a chair. Let's talk about ending 3 careers. On the table between us, files, reports, screenshots, contracts. Years of rot laid out in orderly stacks. Lisa thought she was walking into a story where she played the brave woman leaving her small husband for a bigger life. She never checked who was writing it. The emergency board meeting gets scheduled for 3 p.m. same day. When Richard Scott says now, nobody checks their calendar. I watch from the observation room beside the main conference space, behind mirrored glass. The room smells like stale coffee and expensive decisions. On the other side of the glass, 12-foot table, 7 board members, and the 3 people who thought they were untouchable. Brandon sits near the head, not quite where Scott sits, but close enough to pretend. The swagger's still there, but it's thinner now, like a suit that doesn't fit right. His tie is tight today. No loosened party boy act. Lisa's 2 seats down, composed, hair perfect, hands folded over a leather notebook. She looks like a PR release in human form. Polished, neutral, ready to clarify the situation. Megan sits further away, fiddling with a pen, leg bouncing under the table. Her eyes dart to the closed door every few seconds like she's expecting a camera crew. Scott doesn't start with theatrics. He starts with numbers, expense reports, vendor contracts, shell companies, reimbursement requests that don't match travel logs. He walks through it like an accountant with a knife. Mr. Cole, one board member says, would you like to explain why Pinnacle funds were routed through a marketing vendor that then transferred money directly into an account in your name? Brandon's smirk dies halfway. That's a misinterpretation. We, and you, Ms. Walker. Scott cuts in, voice flat. Why did complaints about Mr. Cole's behavior disappear after reaching your department? Particularly the ones that mention you by name. Lisa's hand tightens on her pen. Color drains from her face at the phrase, covering for your lover. Megan gets her turn next. These, Scott says, sliding a folder toward her, are not creative expenses. This is embezzlement. The FBI is quite clear on the terminology. She shrinks into her chair, pen finally still. The board lets it all land. Silence does more damage than shouting. Then Scott reaches over, taps a small button on the console. Daniel, his voice carries through the room. Come in. The door on my side unlocks with a soft click. Every head turns as I step into the conference room. No blazer this time, just a clean shirt, ID clipped to my belt, calm face. Lisa's eyes go wide first. Dan, her voice cracks on my name. One of the board members looks between us. You know Mr. Walker? She's my wife, I say. For the moment. Scott stands. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Daniel Walker, Director of Special Operations. He's been running internal investigations for the past 3 years. Brandon says nothing. His mind is sprinting, trying to connect Lisa's husband with the man who built the case that's ending my career. I sit down across from them, lay a neat stack of folders on the table. Morrison Marketing was a cover. I explain, voice even. While you were inflating expenses and burying complaints, I was documenting. Vendor kickbacks, personal shell companies, retaliation against whistleblowers, HR's involvement in protecting senior leadership. Lisa just stares, mouth slightly open, like the air got sucked out of her lungs. You're not just in marketing, she says, as if saying it out loud might change it. No, I say. I never was. The board votes. It isn't close. Suspended, effective immediately. Access revoked. All 3 of them. Brandon, Lisa, Megan. Removed from their positions pending further legal action. Security appears at the door like they were waiting for their cue. They were. As they're escorted out, Lisa twists back toward me, anger finally breaking through the shock. This isn't over, she hisses. I meet her eyes, steady. It actually is, I tell her quietly. At least for you. News travels fast in Boston when money's involved. 3 days after the board meeting, Pinnacle issued a statement. Senior leaders terminated for violations of company ethics and financial policies. It's vague for the public, sharp enough for insiders. Then the leaks start. By the end of the week, a business column runs the real version with just enough detail to make it obvious who did what without naming names. People connect the dots. Bars near the financial district buzz. Did you hear about Pinnacle? Turns into, you hear what that VP did with his head of PR and the expense queen? I don't need to chase the gossip. Defines me anyway, emails, texts, little crazy about your wife's company messages from people who think they're subtle. I keep my answers polite, short, and empty. At home, the house is quieter. No Lisa. No fake talks about our future. Just me, my work, and the soft hum of the fridge. On a Tuesday night, the doorbell rings. Megan stands on my porch, mascara smeared, hair pulled back in a frantic knot. She's in jeans and a blazer like she got halfway through pretending to be okay and ran out of energy. Dan, please, she says as soon as I open the door. Can I come in? I step aside. She walks in like someone expecting to be yelled at and hoping for the opposite. In the kitchen, I pour her water. She eyes the bourbon, but I don't offer it. The FBI called. She blurts. They said they want to talk about misappropriated funds and patterns of behavior. They're using words like charges. Dan, I can't go to prison. My parents, my dad will. She breaks down for a second. Shoulders shake. She pulls herself back together fast, PR training kicking in. It wasn't that bad, she insists. People pay expenses all the time. I just rounded up, took some perks. Brandon said everyone did it. I lean against the counter, arms crossed. You stole from a public company, repeatedly, over the years. You also helped bury complaints for a man you knew was dirty. That's not rounding up. She flinches, then switches tactics. Look, I get it. Okay? I screwed up. But you know Lisa. You know Brandon. You know what they're capable of. If I help you, can you help me? There it is. The bargain. What do you think I want? Ask. She swallows. Leverage. On Lisa. On Brandon. I know things. I know dates. Meetings. Who approved what? And she hesitates, looks down at her hands. And what? I push. She exhales like she's been holding it for days. Lisa's pregnant. The words hit, but not the way she expects. Not a knife to the chest, more like a shot fired near a gas line. How far along? Ask. 2 months. Maybe a little more. Megan won't meet my eyes. She told me she hopes it's Brandon's. She keeps saying she wants a fresh start with a real man. Her words, not mine. My jaw tightens. Not from jealousy. From math. 2 months. I repeat. She tell you when she and I last slept together? Megan looks up, frowns. No. Why would? Because I know, I say. 8 months ago. Give or take a week. She gets it then. Her face changes. So it's his. Almost definitely. Almost, I say. But the law doesn't care about almost. If the kid's born while we're married, I'm on the hook until I prove otherwise. Child support. Legal headaches. Years of it. Megan leans forward, desperate again. I can testify. I can give dates. Messages. Anything. Just don't let them pin all of this on me. Please. I walk her to the door. I'm not a judge, I say. Or the FBI. You need a criminal lawyer, not your ex-friend's husband. She nods, tears building again. You're really just going to let this happen? Actions, I say, have consequences. You're just catching yours. She steps out onto the porch. I shut the door gently in her face. Then I pick up my phone and call my lawyer. He answers on the second ring. We need to speed this up, I tell him. Divorce finalized as fast as legally possible. Something changed, he asks. I look at the closed door, the empty house, the wedding photo still on the mantle. Yeah, I say. There's a baby on the way, and I'm making damn sure it's not my problem when it gets here. The bar sits 3 blocks from Pinnacle, the kind of place execs used to hit after long days to brag about their deals and their toys. Now it's half empty on a Thursday. TV muted over the counter. Bartender polishing the same glass for 10 minutes. I'm nursing a beer, not hiding, not hunting, just watching the fallout settle. The door opens. I don't have to turn to know who it is. Some people carry a different kind of gravity when life drops a building on them. Brandon looks older by 10 years. Same jawline, same height, but the polish is gone. Wrinkled dress shirt, tie in his pocket, hair like he dried it with his hands and gave up halfway. Eyes shot red, skin gray around the edges. He spots me, hesitates, then walks over like a man heading for a fight he already lost. Walker, he says, sliding onto the stool next to mine. Are you proud of yourself? I take a sip of beer. For doing my job? Yeah. A little. He laughs once, humorless. You destroyed my life. I turn, meet his eyes. No. You destroyed your life. I just wrote it down and handed it to the right people. He orders whiskey, double, downs it like water. You know what I had? He asks, staring at the empty glass. Penthouse, car, corner office. Everyone wants something from me. I was somebody. You were a liability, I correct. The kind that takes a company down with him. He signals for another. The bartender hesitates, then pours anyway. Lisa's pregnant, he says, like he's dropping a bomb I haven't already heard about. She doesn't even want the kid. Says it'll wreck her career. Says maybe she'll deal with it and pretend none of this ever happened. I let that hang there. You think it's yours? He snorts. We both know it's mine. You and Lisa haven't. 8 months, I say, since we last slept together. She started coming home late right around then. I can show you the hotel receipts if you want a souvenir. He goes quiet. You knew, he says finally. The whole time. The hotels. The card. The fake conferences. You knew. From day one, I answered. I needed evidence. For Scott. For the board. For the divorce. For whatever came after. So I watched. I waited. I'll let you dig your own grave. He stares straight ahead, whiskey glass turning slowly in his fingers. I've got nothing now. No job. No condo. No car. They're talking about charges. I'm crashing on a buddy's couch like some washed-up intern. That's rough, I say. There's no sarcasm in it. Just a fact. Actions. Consequences. He looks at me then, really looks. This isn't over, he mutters. You think you won. You didn't. I'll find a way to make you pay. He throws a 20 on the bar and stumbles out into the night. All that old swagger boiled down to empty threats and cheap whiskey. I watch him go, then finish my beer. For him, I tell the quiet room, it's absolutely over. Lisa's lawyer's office smells like money and lemons. Glass walls, leather chairs, polished mahogany tables big enough to hold 3 ruined lives if you stack them. Lisa sits on one side with her attorney, a sharp-looking woman in a gray suit and the kind of expression that says she bills by the minute and enjoys it. I sit on the other side with my lawyer, a quiet guy who looks like an accountant and has the instincts of a shark. Mr. Walker, her attorney says, your reported income doesn't match the lifestyle you and Mrs. Walker have maintained. BMW, suburban home, vacations. Are you hiding assets? Her tone says she thinks she's already got me. I slide a folder across the table. Nope, just a more accurate resume. She opens it. Inside, my real employment contract with Pinnacle. 6-figure base. Bonuses. Stock options. Confidentiality clauses thick enough to choke a horse. Her eyebrows climb as she reads. Lisa leans over, eyes scanning the numbers. You make this much? She whispers, like the paper just slapped her. I do, I say. Have for years. Her eyes flicker with something ugly. Realizing the modest husband she outgrew was earning more than her golden boy ever did. This changes the financial picture significantly, her lawyer says. Given his true income, alimony, I hold up a hand. Before we talk about what she thinks she's entitled to, we should look at Exhibit B. My lawyer slides out another document. Lisa's Pinnacle employment contract. Specifically, page 12. The morality clause. Her attorney frowns, reads, then goes still. Any employee, I recite, who engages in a sexual relationship with another employee, in violation of company policy, forfeits any claim to spousal support in the event of divorce connected to that conduct. Initialed by you. Lisa's initials sit in ink at the bottom of the paragraph. She signed it 3 years ago, probably skimming for title and salary while legalese blurred together. You can't be serious, she says, voice thin. That's a work contract. It's also enforceable, my lawyer replies calmly, especially when tied to corporate liability and documented misconduct, which we have, in detail. I watched it hit her. No alimony, no payout, no share of assets she didn't know existed. While her lawyer recalculates her entire strategy in real time, my phone buzzes. A text from Scott. Megan was arrested. Brandon is under investigation. IRS interested. All progressing. I slide the phone back into my pocket. Across the table, Lisa stares at the clause that just ended her financial leverage, realizing the man she thought was her safety net was actually the one cutting the rope. Mr. Scott's instructions are simple. Let him finish ruining himself. Brandon's good at that part. A week after the deposition, my phone buzzes at 1:13 a.m. Home security alert. Motion in the office. I roll onto my back, pick up the phone, open the app. HD video. Brandon. In a dark hoodie. Inside my house. Another guy with him, skinny, nervous, wearing gloves like this is a movie and not a felony with timestamps. They're rifling through my office. Drawers yanked open. Files dumped on the floor. One of them finds a locked cabinet, tries to pry it. They're talking, but the mics don't pick up much. I don't need to hear it. I already know the plot. Find dirt, create leverage, flip the script. I watch for 3 minutes. That's all it takes to get everything I need. Entry, search, attempted forced access. Clean. Full view of their faces. Then I called the police. Someone's in my house, I say. Calm. Factual. I'm watching them on my security feed. I'm not home. I'll stay on the line. By the time a cruiser rolls up, they're still inside. I watch the whole thing on my phone. Flashlights, shouted commands, the scramble that comes too late. Next morning, Brandon's in a cell, bail set higher than his new life can afford. Around noon, Lisa shows up on my porch, pounding on the door like the world owes her an explanation. I open it just enough to stand in the frame. You set him up, she snaps. No hello. No hesitation. You knew he was going to do something stupid and you let it happen. I went to sleep in my own bed, I say. He broke into my house. That's not a setup. That's a choice. He's the father of my child, Dan. There it is. The card she thinks will still work. About that, I say. You keep throwing father around like it changes something. It doesn't. I had a vasectomy 2 years ago. She freezes. You're lying. No, I meet her eyes. Right after you started talking about kids like they were accessories. I realized I didn't want to bring a child into a marriage where respect was optional. I kept it to myself because I knew how you'd spin it. Her face drains. She does the math. 8 months since we slept together. 2 years sterile. 2 months pregnant. The baby isn't mine, Lisa. Not biologically. Not legally by the time this divorce is done. She sinks down onto the top step like her legs gave out, staring at the driveway, not at me. I never really knew you, she says quietly. No, I answered. You knew the version of me it was convenient to believe in. I leave her there on the porch, sitting with the wreckage of the plan she thought she was running. 6 months later, summer settles over the neighborhood. The kind of warm evening where the air feels thick but not hostile. I'm in the backyard, feet up, beer in hand, watching the sun slide behind the maple trees. The house feels different now. Same walls, same furniture, but it's mine in a way it never was before. No tension in the corners. No fake future hanging over the living room. The side gate clicks. I don't reach for anything. Only 2 people use that gate without calling first. And one of them's dead. The other is Art. He steps into the yard with a 6-pack and a nod. Brought backup, he says, lifting the beer. We sit at the patio table. He cracks one, leans back, eyes the sky like he's got all the time in the world. Got updates, he says eventually. Let's hear the sermon, I reply. He ticks them off like a report. Brandon's out, Art starts. It's been 8 months. Between the corporate mess and the break-in, he pleaded to whatever his lawyer could live with. He's in a halfway house now, working nights at a gas station off Route 1. No car, no condo, no credit. I nod. Fitting. Lisa, ask. He takes a sip. Back with her parents in Worcester. The baby came early but was healthy. She's temping at some small law firm. Word's out enough in the industry that nobody's putting her near PR for anything bigger than a dental office. I picture her there. Fluorescent lights, cheap coffee, no camera crews, no launches, just paperwork and second chances she never gave anyone else. And Megan? Ask. Pled out, he answers. 90 days plus probation. Corporate career's a corpse. She's talking about starting over in a completely different field. Nonprofit, maybe. People always find God or charity when the money dries up. We sit with that for a minute. Not gloating, just acknowledging the scoreboard. You headed west then? Art asks. Yeah, I say. Scott offered director of corporate security. Bigger scope, bigger problems. Seattle first, maybe others after. Same work, just more of it. He trusts you, Art says. He should, I answered. He watched me burn down his rot and not enjoy it too much. Art finishes his beer, stands, leaves the rest of the pack on the table. You did clean work, Dan, he says. Most guys in your shoes? They'd have made it messy. I wasn't interested in being messy, I told him. Just accurate. He claps my shoulder once and heads out the way he came. Later, I lock up, turn off the lights, and stand for a second in the hallway, just listening to the quiet. No shouting, No lies. Just my own breathing and the hum of a house that finally feels honest. I'm not in love. I'm not broken. I'm not chasing some rebound fantasy to prove I'm still a man. I know what I am. Sometimes the man everyone thinks is a harmless nobody is actually the one holding the levers, waiting, watching, documenting. The underdog doesn't always bark or bite. Sometimes he just flips a switch and lets gravity do the rest. I go to bed alone in my own house. Not lonely, just at peace. Justice served. Not hot, not loud, cold, precise, complete.
Subscribe and stay one step ahead of cheaters. And trust me, the next story makes this one look like a fairy tale.